Take me back to the life that we once knew, when the walls weren't closing in like they are now. Cause it's been too many years since California. I wish I could get there, I don't know how. See, one day I'm gonna reach ya, take a plane for many miles. We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before we're done, gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in the same sky, when I'm on the other side.
Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over in the lead on the record.
3x3 entering 4.
3 2. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Hello everybody and welcome into Daytona International Speedway, live hosting some PGR eSports action tonight. Joining me in the booth as always, co-host Matthew Baker. Baker, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Excited to see Daytona. We haven't seen it in a very long time, but usual suspects up front for the qualifying here in the Xfinity car is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, a long time. I would say, I thought coming into it, and I believe it may be the first time in series history that we've actually came to this track. Usually Talladega, we're used to seeing us at, but without further ado, let's hop right down trackside as drivers have got the engines fired and get ready to roll off. Take a look at your starting grid here tonight. Alex Hill, he will take the pole with a 50.497. Kevin Freese rolls off on his outside, just 5 thousandths behind that time. Garrett Maines and Zachary Lima making up row number 2. It's Cody Nagels in 5th, with Jeff Merck back in 6th. Steve Karosik in 7th. Jason Maines in 8th. Dawson Wise in 9th. And rounding out your top 10 tonight is Michael Guest.
11th, you got John Mollahan. Malik Ray right behind the person he's always working with Michael Guest. Look for them to go to the third lane pretty quickly. David Sheets in 13th. Trevor Osmanoff, William Hicks, Cody Ashley, Jared Miller in 17th. Ron Morris Jr. in 18th, Chad Ross in 19th, and Mark Vondell in 20th.
21st is going to be Logan York with Ryan Borboom in 22nd. Mike Davenport in 23rd. Kenneth Stamper in 24th. Ryan Bass starts 25th with Frederick Ledesor in 26th. Mike Kirk in 27th with William Fox in 28th. Tucker McClendon 29th. DeAndre Kane rounding out your top 30.
Raymond Hanneman in 31st. 32nd, Michael Truscaro, series owner. 33rd, Andrew Navarro, Kenny Brady in 34th. 35th, you got Dylan Basin. 36th, John Ward. 37th, Daniel Eberhardt. Dylan Jones in 38th. Nashman Billa in 39th, and in 40th, Richard Elliott.
Heath Job rolls off 41st. Brock Westerland in 42nd. Christopher McCullough and Ken McCullough Jr. making up row 22. Matthew Patton in 45th. And rounding out the field tonight, Kyler Wynn. Boy, he's going to have a tall task coming all the way from the back to the front without any help. Taking a look at your race info tonight, the biggest change, yes, we are at Daytona International Speedway, 2.5 miles in length. It's the world center of racing. Track temp starting tonight, 65 degrees, very cool. We're going to see a lot of grip. That means a lot of aggressive pushing and very, very high speeds tonight. It's the Acres 55, sponsor of the race. We are in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, 55 laps, 55% fuel. Unlimited tires, no fast break. I keep meaning to change that. Fixed setups as always, and 3 green light checkers. So again, no fast repairs here tonight, so you're going to have to be careful. 64 degrees, the weather outside, 97% humidity, clear skies, and winds at 5 miles an hour. All right, as we get ready to go, looks like actually we're going to get a delay here. Race control saw something they didn't like, so we will go ahead and do an extra parade lap. Just gives us some more time to welcome everybody in here. Good to see everybody tuning out tonight on this Thursday night. Had some Noma Gen 6 Series action just before this. And boy, is this going to be a good one here tonight. Huge field, in fact, probably bigger than we've seen in maybe the last couple weeks. Again, we got a couple pros with Malik Ray, Michael Guest. And then, of course, you got the Super Speedway pros, as we like to call them. Trevor Osmanoff, good to see him in here tonight. Just caught my eye towards the middle of the field. Alex Hill, see what he can do. And then Baker, I'm not sure if he's dealing with anything right now, but assuming he's still here with us. We're getting excited and geared up for our own thing here. 2 of us in the booth and then 2 of us down on track for Saturday. The Rolex 24 in iRacing. The Daytona 24 Ghost 74 will be making its debut. Make sure you come check out that. But Baker, what was the reason for the delay? Did we have someone out of line?
It just looked like Michael Truscaro may have lost connection there. Series owner went up in the wall and got into Tucker McClendon. I think his race may be over.
Oh, man, that's a terrible break if that's to be the case. And yeah, both drivers on the pits. Tucker McClendon. Yeah, you can see the damage there. So that is a really, really tough break. Nothing you can do when you disconnect, but when it affects another driver, you certainly hate it. But coming on to the back stretch again, looks like Steve Karosik already down saving some fuel. And speaking of fuel, at 55% in the Xfinity cars, I believe that's just over 20 laps. So Baker still expecting a 2-stop, at least if this thing were to go green the entire way. Yeah, that's a big assumption. We'll have to see if it actually plays out that way. But you know, if you're Alex Hill, you're not going to be saving any fuel. On the bottom in clean air, you got Garrett Maines behind you. You know he's going to be doing a ton of pushing. Kevin Freese on the outside. He's not going to save much fuel. And then there's Cody Nagels rocking the RJ Strong scheme. So Dale Cup, the Maines boys making up the front of the field. No surprise there. Jeff Merck, he is one of the guys that we have carrying a driver cam for us tonight. We'll get to that in just a moment. And it looks like Michael Truscaro may have been able to reconnect. But you got to wonder how much that affected his race. Well, Tucker McClendon got back out on track, but yeah, that car is heavily crippled before even seeing the green flag. You hate to see that, but he got as much damage as he could fixed. And so here we go, working our way out of turn 4. We will try this yet again. Pace car is going to make the hard left turn down to the pits. Fire out of all the pipes. Everybody getting stanced into second gear. Into the Geico restart zone. We're going to roll for the first time here tonight. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in the Acres 55. Lap 1 complete here, and it is going to go to the 77 of Alex Hill. Oh, Everhart wrecking out back. Big time hit for Daniel Everhart and company. Everhart might have actually escaped. I think it was another car that took the brunt of this one. And oh my goodness. There's Daniel Everhart. Yeah, no, he's clean. He was the first guy that it reported contact with, but it wasn't him that actually took that brunt hit that we saw. So we just get through the first lap before they wreck in the tribal. Let's immediately go back and take a look at what happens here. And there you see the 28 spinning around. Everhart's on the bottom, so he's not even the first one that gets out of shape. So let's see if we can go to the chopper view for this one. And look towards the front of your screen. That's the 28 machine. Again, these guys are all out of order, but I think that's William Fox. Yeah, it is. Just below him is where the contact actually starts. It looks like the 8 right there. Mike Kirk's going to get involved, but he wasn't the initial contact either. Back this up one more time. Try to slow it down even more and maybe take a look from TV follow right here. Let's go to screenshot first here. See, I think it's going to be Dylan Basson who actually sparks this. Yeah, him and Kirk get together. He's coming down and gets in the left rear. Does Kirk drift up? It certainly looks that way. Go back to the chopper view now that we know everybody that was involved here. Yeah, so as they come to the tribal, Kirk starts to creep up just a little bit. At the same time, Dylan Basson maybe comes down a bit. They make contact, and up the track they go. Dylan Basson is going to come back down here, trying to miss everybody. Gets into the 51. No, just misses. Everhart goes through the grass to miss it. So where his reported damage was, the 47. Nowhere to go. Dylan Basson's going to slide back up. There's the contact with the outside wall, and tell you what, man, that was a pretty big wreck. Took out quite a couple cars. Again, with no fast cars tonight, that's going to put a couple people's race to an end right off the get-go. Let's go to the spotter view for this one. I mean, I can't get over the amount of different guys this collects. Baker's probably dealing with it right now, but when Dylan comes down, he actually does a pretty good job of saving it here, not hitting too many people. 47 plowed in, of course, with nowhere to go. That was Kenny Brady, who's actually one of the guys that we were expecting good things from here tonight. And Navarro gets involved. He's got no rear end. See a couple of the Hyper Motorsports teammates, including John Ward, 2023 champion, was involved in that incident. Here's what it looked like from the TV static cam. We always talk about when you're running this fast, this close, it does not take much to spark trouble. And that's why on these first laps, you try to give a little bit of extra room, because you know everybody has their elbows out. And in that case, it looks like a racing incident, but unfortunately a bad break for the two drivers that kind of initially spark it here. Yeah, you see Basson just slightly coming down. Mike Kirk just slightly coming up. Boy, they picked the worst place to do it, too. Just about right in the middle of the pack. Close call right there for the 51. I mean, he was on pins and needles right there to not make any contact. And it's actually the only Canadian driver that we have in the field tonight. Actually, one of them, I should say, along with Kyler Wynn, Frederick Ledoucher. And I know I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, so Frederick, I apologize. But let's take an onboard view here and watch this angle as he's able to miss it. He sees it happen just in front. He's going to dive low. And, oh my goodness, just barely able to squeak by Dylan Basson. Saves his race from going up in flames here on lap number 2. So as we go back live, pit road, pretty busy place right now. But up front, it is indeed Alex Hill that will be scored as your leader. Garrett Maines in second. Back in third is Cody Nagels with Zachary Lima in fourth. Jeff Merck in 5th, Steve Karosik in 6th, Dawson Wise. Good to see him in the field tonight. We see him in the booth sometimes. Broadcaster for the Little Guy Series. He is also running an RJ Strong Superman scheme here tonight, along with Cody Nagels. As we said, he's already up a spot from where he started in 8th. John Mullihan back in 9th, and Jason Maines heading out your top 10. Well, I think Race Control may have gotten that last one wrapped up, but best way to know is to ask. Baker, did we get any confirmation on exactly kind of what happened right there?
Yeah, it just looks like Michael Kirk got up into Dillon Basin and everyone just had nowhere to go, you know. Tighter track here in Daytona and just killed him.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things we forgot to mention. I'm glad you brought that up. Track here at Daytona is a lot narrower. You can do 3 wide. I promise you, you cannot do 4, at least not for more than maybe a couple hundred yards. It will not end well. And looks like Zach Bailey in the chat says, is Kirk's car able to still run, or is it out? Looks like he has got back out on track, but again, with no fast pairs tonight, any damage is big damage. And yeah, unfortunately, that 54 is not looking too aerodynamic. You see, he's still got some damage on the right front, maybe a little bit on the left front, and then the rear end is still banged up as well. And he's actually in the grass right now. Not sure what's going on here. What in the world has happened with this car? He's turning the suspension. It's just not turning here. Did he get... What in the world happened here? We saw him going straight. He seemed okay, and then... No, the suspension on that car is just toast. So, yeah, I think that's unfortunately going to be a night ender here for Mike Kirk, as he's going to try to limp it back to the pits, it looks like. Tough break for one of the new drivers that we saw in the field tonight. In fact, Baker, overall tonight, we see probably about a handful to 2 handfuls worth of new drivers. You'd love to see that.
Yeah, really love to see that. Unfortunate to see a couple of the new guys get knocked out pretty early, but hopefully we can get some nice green flag racing in here again and get this race underway.
Yeah, and again, expecting that first pit stop, well, one we were expecting, I guess I should say, this is going to change it a little bit. I think now, Baker, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be a really borderline one stop for these guys. In fact, I think it would be a one stop.
Very close to a one stop. Probably going to get there on a one stop, I think, if you could save, especially towards the mid-pack, it'll definitely be one. But if you're up front, kind of risking it, but I really think you're going to see people just fighting for all the track position that they can get here.
Absolutely. Just Daytona says, hi, good to see you in here, Daytona. Hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you tuning out. And here we go. Looking for the green flag back in the air. It's Maines and Hill in row 1. Nagels and Lima in row 2. Green flag is back in the air. 6 laps complete at Daytona. Good rolling start right off the get-go for the inside and the outside line. Maines with a little help from Lima. That inside, though, they've already got 3 cars lined up. Jeff Mert, he is in tandem with everybody else. And so now you start to wonder, what do you do here? If you're Alex Hill, do you jump up? Sure enough, you do. He's going to go to the top as they climb over 30 degrees of banking. They shoot onto the Daytona Super Stretch to 77, still with some momentum. But now Cody Nagels will draw even as he gets some help from Jeff Merck. And now pulling up that second, Superman, RJ Strong car and Dawson Wise. They're going to drag race into turn number 3.
Good side-by-side battling here. The outside line has a little more cars organized at top. Look for it to really roll. Bottom's going to roll at nighttime. There's going to be a lot of speed down there. But you're going to see as the run starts to go on, the tires start to go, that middle line is really going to come into play here.
Taking an onboard view right there with our first driver cam of the night, Jeff Merkin. A lot of bad luck, but here you go, man. You see how hard he is working right now inside that car. He's got the full motion Simrig, trying everything to keep it down there on the yellow. And tell you what, Daytona is more unforgiving in a lot of ways. We talked about the track being narrower, but about the apron, it's caution's out. Let's see if we can find the culprit of this one here as the whole field comes roaring off the 2, or at least it appears that it's just about the whole field. Can't tell exactly who is involved in this. Kevin Freeze. Oh, yikes. The 25 is destroyed. That'll bring Kevin Freeze's night to an end immediately. What in the world happens here to Kevin? Just as we hopped on an onboard view with Jeff Merck, this happens coming out of the tri-oval. So here you go. Let's go to the spotter view. That's Kevin in the middle. That's Frederick on the outside in the 51, one of the 2 Canadian drivers in the field. And, oh, that's a hard hit for Kevin Freeze. That was where he got all the damage. And fortunately, Frederick gets collected in that. And then, see, it looks like we had a couple others. So let's back this up and actually take a good look here from the chopper view on. From that view, actually, I'm not going to speculate here until we actually see both sides of this. So here's the chopper view. Watch Kevin Freese in the middle. Let's see how everybody's lines change. So right here, the 51, he's got his tires left sides above the seam. Kevin Freese, Kevin just kind of drifts up. I mean, certainly a rare mistake for Kevin Freese. Now, in his defense, this was a really tight gap. I mean, Kevin probably expecting the 51 to run a little bit further up the track right here, but even as the 51 starts to go up, they just eventually collide as Kevin starts to wash up. You got to wonder, was there a little bit of netcode involved in this? Didn't seem like it, but as he washes up, yeah, no, there was going to be contact there, I have to believe. Maybe a slight bit, but yeah, once he gets hooked, there's nowhere to run. Gets hard into the outside wall and then gets sent back down into the 77. Looks like John Ward's able to miss it, and then everybody else goes by without any further contact, but definitely hard enough of a hit and a big enough of a wreck to draw the caution. Take a look here from screenshot 2. Show this from a little bit of a different angle. You know, guys trying to get aggressive, trying to get through wide, make something work. Again, risk versus reward. William Hicks, by the way, the other driver that was involved in this. There you see as he gets turned into the outside wall. Looks like Hicks is going to initially miss it, but then as the 25 gets shot back down, this is where unfortunately he's going to have nowhere to run. As you see John Ward just barely check up to miss it in time, and then the 51, by the way, of Frederick, he got a lot of damage in that as well. I think that's going to bring his night to an end, again, with that no fast repair rule here. We'll take a couple more angles of this. Everybody scattered. It's probably a good thing that this happened kind of in a little bit of a gap. It was towards the end of that pack, and then you had some space before the next pack. Take a view here on board with Kevin Freese. See what he saw through this whole contact. So he's in the middle, just, oh man, maybe he even thought maybe Mark was just slightly coming up, but I don't think he was. He's able to get back rolling, but like I said, that damage is definitely terminal and will be a night ender for Kevin Freese. We'll take one more look here from the TV static cam. Back that up a little bit more. You see everybody scattering in the background and miss it. And that's what I was talking about there with it was kind of two packs, so you'd certainly hate to see it, but if it had to happen, it certainly happened in a better area than it could have. If it would have happened at the front of the pack, potentially collected just about everybody that we had running in this race. So Kevin Freese and Frederick Lucier's nights are going to end. And again, a crash before we even make it to lap number 10. And so as we go back live and to the front, Alex Hill still being scored as your leader. Cody Nagels to the outside in second. Zachary Lima in third. Steve Karosik in fourth. Dawson Wise in fifth. Jason Maines in sixth. Tell you what, Baker, what did it look like to you before we go any further?
Yeah, it just looks like Kevin thought Mark was coming up the track. I mean, he did clip the apron and came up just a tad, but real tight space to be in the middle there. And then once he started to move up, looks like he got net coated a little bit, pulled him up into him.
All right, well, as we get ready to go back green, we do have a couple people hanging around the Discord, one of them being Dawson Wise, who again normally broadcasts with us. So let's see what his take is on the crazy start that we've had to this race so far.
Just 202.
Hey Dawson, this is Austin and Baker of the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, guys, hey, what's up?
Not much. We didn't mean to pull you out of team chatter there, but just for a moment, I mean, chaotic start to the race. What does it look like from your perspective?
I mean, we're, trying to find a groove up front. Split pit strategy right there. It's kind of interesting. Decided to stay out and keep the track position. I think we're going to be pushing a one-stop. So, hoping to just keep it up and maybe they'll stop wrecking. We can actually do some green flag racing.
Well, when you see this many wrecks at the start of a race, does it change kind of the mindset of trying to maybe just ride, go to the back, or do you feel like it's safer to stay at the front?
I think it's safer to stay at the front. I mean, you just saw what happened with Kevin right there on that caution. He pit on the first pit stop, or on the first caution, and he's, from what we understand, he torpedoed his engine in that wreck. So I'd rather stay up front, keep the track position, and we'll get to strategy when we get to it.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thanks for giving us some quick insight. Good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it, guys. Have fun up there.
All right, will do. And Dawson Wise right now, again, going to be lining up third on the inside. Steve Karosik. Tell you what, Baker, I was talking to Steve here a little bit before this race got started. He seemed like he had some vengeance. He was ready to go for it tonight. And another thing I'm noticing here is looks like John Mullihan, maybe with a little bit of a different look on that paint scheme. Definitely a different number on there. Running the 6 now. He'll start to the inside of Jason Maines. He's got a teammate behind him in David Sheets. Davenport, Kenneth Stamper. Good to see a couple of those guys up here. And then see the 5, Ryan Based. This might be one of the first times we've seen him run in the Xfinity cars. Good to see him up here as well. Michael Triscaro was able to get back in the field. He's already up to 15th, up 17th from where he started, but we've had a couple guys retire from this race. We'll see if these guys can calm it down. All right, here we go. Back into the restart zone. Ooh, almost some trouble out back as they all stack up. Looks like everybody is going to be okay as they get going. Up front, no issues there. The 77 of Alex Hill gets through the gears nice and smooth. Cody Nagel's on the outside with a push from Steve Karosik. Everybody further back, trying to shuffle up to the top lane. That's the one that's going to move. And with that cooler track temp, we talked about speeds. It'll take these guys about a lap to get wound up. But, Baker, do you think that outside still rolls here on this first lap?
Yeah, it looks like it is. As long as they stay tucked up, you know, that outside's going to roll with the side draft. You see almost clear to the bottom. Gets clear there into 3, maybe not just, barely gets clear. Takes it down to the bottom. The bottom's now going to roll. You're going to see these guys up front really work together. They work together well in the OP series, and they work together well in Super Speedway races. Cody Nagel's to the front here.
All right, so the 2 times we've seen 3 wide so far here tonight hasn't ended too well, and I think that maybe gets some of these guys to stop thinking about it here for just a couple laps. Again, 55 laps, and as Dawson was kind of mentioning, with that second caution, and I mean, Baker, me and you both know this, that makes it a definite one-stop now, but it does open it up for a little bit of strategy play. So you got to wonder, how do you go about it? Do you pit here as soon as the fuel window opens? Do you go in the middle? Do you go late? Is it a little different with these Xfinity cars?
I think that you want to run it out as far as you can with the new draft model. You want as many cars out as possible on the track. The days of 4 cars running away, or 4 trucks that we see run away, it's not going to happen in these cars. It's just going to be who can get in and out of their pits, stay hooked up together, and run the longest.
We saw the onboard view with 2 of our drivers so far here tonight. How about one of the guys that we got? And this is a PGR winner. Back when it was the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series, Trevor Osmanoff, one of the KSR boys out here, and with a good run early so far here tonight. You can tell just how tense it is in the draft when you're running almost 200 miles an hour. Door to door, you cannot afford to make a mistake. Trevor again holding nice and smooth right now with a good run. And then further back, last but certainly not least, series owner Michael Triscaro had a watch party going last week, and this week he's back in the cockpit. Some trouble before the race even started, but looks like everything got set up, got fixed, and back out here on the lead lap and 21st and up 11 from where he started, just behind him. In fact, looks like he's actually thinking about going 3 wide now. Quickly decides to jump back down in front of Eberhard. Now he'll make the move up in front of Michael Guest and Kyler Wynn. That was a dicey move, but that's really going to spark this 3rd lane right here, Baker.
Oh, they're all going to wreck.
All wrecking out back. More chaos. We got one upside down. That's Michael Guest in the 54. And oh my goodness, hopefully the banky turns it back over. It does. That car's still rolling. And yet again, another caution. We have yet to run more than 3 to 5 laps under green at this point. And Michael Guest, it might be a night ender for him. Dude would be one of the fan favorites going into it, and say maybe one of the fan favorites, one of the favorites in general. You were watching for him and Malik Ray to maybe get hooked up at some point, and now all of a sudden this is going to change a whole bunch of things yet again. All right, let's go back here and take a look at what happens. Michael Triscaro had just hopped up in this lane. We literally just took the camera away from them as this is going to happen, so we'll go first to the chopper view and take a look on if that's how this kind of starts. So you see Michael Triscaro, he's kind of indecisive here a little bit. Daniel Eberhard even has to bail out of the throttle, but then Triscaro decides to jump back up, and then that's not exactly how it starts, though. It starts almost from the bottom there. That's Ron Morris Jr., and he's going to tag the apron, it looks like. Yeah, he does. Ron tags the apron, but does Eberhard have to come down here at all to kind of try to maybe give Triscaro some room? So Eberhard, when he bails out of the throttle, not really. Good. Yeah, I was going to say, looking from this view, it doesn't look like he really came down. It just looks like they started to kind of netcode with each other. And so Ron did bump the apron, but again, he doesn't really come up from it, and Eberhard doesn't really come down, just tight racing. And then as close as they were running, the game thinks they're going to make contact, gets Eberhard and Morris into each other, and then the rest is history from there. Take a look from this view. You see Michael Guest trying everything, but he's just not going to miss it and gets kind of pinched up along the safer barrier. Somehow Kyler Wynn is able to check up and dive low through this. And there you see Ron Morris Jr. get spun there. Logan York trying to dive through it. They're going 4 wide to miss it. And so ultimately, it looks like Michael Guest is going to get the worst of it, along with maybe Daniel Eberhardt and Ron Morris Jr. Yeah, Eberhardt took a big shot as well. Michael Triscaro, I think he's going to spin out, but just go for a slide ultimately. But if you were Michael Guest right here, this was a pretty wild ride. We're going to have to take a ride on board for sure. And then Ron slide back up. No traffic. We talked about Kyler Wynn somehow missing it. I mean, he was on the bumper of Michael Guest, so I'm not sure how he found a way to miss it, but he did. Let's take the first ride on board here with Kyler Wynn as they all pile up. So he sees it. He's slowing down hard on the brakes. He might actually make just slight contact with the back Michael Guest, but it certainly wasn't much. And then speaking of Guest, he takes it to the pits for repairs. Let's take the ride on board here. He gets pinched up against the wall. He tries to turn it left. Nothing he can do. And then it just does not land back on all of its wheels. Until it finally hits the banking, rolls back over. Take one more view of this here from the TV static cam. And we have now had 2 different wrecks, at least the last 2, right in just about the same exact area of the track. Kevin Freese and Mark Vondell made their contact in pretty much that exact same area, so not sure what's going on here, but definitely some troubles early. As kind of stemmed, again, wasn't really anybody's fault there. Definitely a little bit of netcode, but a lot of aggressive racing back there. It looked like they were trying to get a third lane working, and fortunately just did not work out too well in that case. But Garrett Maines is being scored as your leader. Jeff Merck second. There's Malik Ray up in third now. Actually did hear a little bit of an interesting update on Malik Ray, and you see it on the car there, that him and Casey Kerwin, I believe, are on Spire Motorsports for this season with Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And there you see, got the Spire Motorsports paint scheme on just behind him. Raymond Hanneman, that's another one of the drivers that is in here tonight, running one of the Canadian drivers. So Kyler Wynn is normally by himself. Maybe he does have a couple teammates here tonight. Matthew Patton is already up 40 positions from where he started this race at. It's one of the Hyper Motorsports drivers. Nash Brambilla back in 6th, up 33. Steve Karosik in 7th. Alex Hill 8th. Cody Nagels 9th. And Zachary Lima rounding out your top 10. Well, Baker, I mean, at this point, are we going to really have that many cars left at the end of this race?
I mean, only 2 disconnected so far. A couple of them have critical damage. I don't think they're going to make it. But, yeah, it's been in the herd out through the middle and the back of the pack. Anytime we go in 3 wide, just looks like a lot of net coding going on. But hopefully we can get through it and get some clean racing in here.
By the way, I am a little bit under the weather today, so I apologize if I do sound a little funny at all, or maybe not quite as up to par as usually like to be. But glad to see these guys out here tonight. And again, Daytona, good to see these guys at this track. This is my favorite track, at least out of all the real-life tracks. And man, oh man, the World Center Racing is about to be a busy place in real life. Again, got the Rolex coming up. And then, of course, Speed Weeks in just about a month from now. Can't wait for all that. And good time to be a part of the money racing community. We got a good field here tonight. See a lot of guys catching the back of the pack, somewhat damaged, some going into top off on fuel. And we're still not in the range where they can make it all the way without pitting. So they still have to make a one-stop. But man, it's getting more and more strategy play to be involved here, as now it'll be, looks like just about 38 laps or so to go when we get the green flag right here. So Garrett will line up on the bottom, Jeff Merck up top, Malik Ray and Raymond Hanneman back in row number 2, Matthew Patton 5th, Nash Brambilla 6th, Alex Hill 7th, Steve Karosik 8th. Watch for a couple of those Dale Cup teammates. You see the 2 Superman cars lined up as well, to maybe thinking about making a move. Pace car pulls off, back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back in the air, 18 laps complete at Daytona.
Good side-by-side action here. You can see Jeff Merck getting a good push on the outside line. Will his luck turn around? I really, really hope so. One of my really good friends here on the sim, would be nice to see him get the win here, or at least finish up to the money. And he's got Raymond Hanneman pushing him on the outside lane with Malik Ray, that new Spire Motorsports edition, pushing another pro driver, Garrett Maines, on the bottom.
Yeah, two of the Coke Series drivers getting some practice for what they're probably going to have to do here at the start of next season. Jeff Murkdo, does he get clear as they rock it down the back straightaway? He does. Oh, Garrett with a big wiggle off the front bumper of Malik Ray. I'm not sure if Malik could tell that Murk got clear. Garrett tried to bail a little bit, and that was almost our fourth caution of the night. But again, everybody was able to save it that time, so we stayed green. As they come across the line now to make it 19 laps complete, they'll regroup. Garrett Maines now locks on to Jeff Murk. They'll tandem up for just a moment. And on that outside line, Nash Brambilla, first chance he's had of doing some pushing here tonight. Newer paint scheme for him. Alex Hill, Steve Karosik, Zachary Lima, they're all lined up. They decide to make a move. They might have a chance of getting to the front, but as Murk gets clear, he'll think about jumping back to the top. No, looks like he's going to stay in front of Garrett down the super stretch.
Good push on the outside line from Nash Brambilla. Hill tucked up behind him with Steve Grosick and Lima locked up on that top lane. I don't know if they're being real hesitant in going to that third lane because they've seen the netcode issues and seen what it's been causing up front. I think they're going to be real hesitant here to go 3 wide, but you know it's going to be those 3 they're going to take it first opportunity to get. They're going to try and push this top lane along, see if they can get one more clear, and then they know it's a go time. They can hang out Nash to dry.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't blame them for wanting to be cautious at this point with what we've seen. And so far, at this point, again, as Baker said, as many wrecks as we've had right off the get-go, not a lot of people out of this race. So everybody doing a good job of at least minimizing damage. And so now, up front, we're going to see another third lane attempt here, as it looks like it is Jason Maines jumping out. He's going to get a little help here from a couple of guys. I think Chad Ross maybe thought about hopping up, or excuse me, Zachary Lima. And further back, yeah, it was Chad Ross actually in the 38 who got up there initially. Steve Karosik saw it. He jumps up. Watch for Alex Hill to complete the trifecta. Off of turn number 4, does he make the move? Nothing yet. The 77's taking a peek. And there he goes to the third lane. So this will put Dale Cup with a chance to go to the front as they cross the line.
Big 3x3 action. They're passing a lap car here on the apron. No one's going to really give him room to get back up. But you see Garrett surging on the bottom with Malik Ray giving a good push here. Huge surge on the outside, though, from these Dale Cup boys. Watch for her. Yeah, Garrett clears up to the middle line just like I thought he was going to. Give those temps to Malik. Big move out of the bottom side from Malik Ray. Oh my goodness. Don't know how he saved it, but Dale Cup is now lined up. The problem is temps are fine in the middle lane with Jeff Murk. Can he just give a good push to Garrett Maines?
And that cold track temp's going to help with those temps being able to stick around longer than they usually would here all night. And Malik Ray, no help right now from Matthew Patton in the 8. Dawson Wise not up there either. They're going to continue to fade until they start to get some guys going, or Garrett/Jeff, depending on who gets clear, jumps down first. As they cross the line, Baker, man, I love watching this, but it is making me nervous. These guys, they don't look all that comfortable yet. 3 wide here at Daytona. Again, it's a lot more narrow than what we're used to seeing, and the aggression level, it certainly hasn't changed from what we see at Talladega. How long can they do this?
I don't think they can do it much longer. The netcode is unbelievably bad here. You see the 3-car bail. He wants out of it. Great move there to get out of this absolute chaos of a top and middle lane. You see Merck drop to the bottom. He's going to hang out Garrett. Garrett's going to stay to the middle, though. He doesn't want to come down. I don't understand that move. I want to stay away from that top lane if I can.
Yeah, well, not a good move, or a good move rather for the 3, but not a good move if you're Malik Ray. You're thinking, man, what the heck? I needed a push. He's not going to get it. He'll have to settle for second and now become the pusher on the back of Jeff Merkin. Malik Ray, you know he's going to be aggressive here with pushing. We saw what he was doing for Garrett Maines. And it's kind of a win-lose scenario, right? You're getting a good push, you're going to stay at the front, but you run a little bit more of a risk of if you bobble at all, it may get your car turned around. So Jeff Merck is going to hold a nice steady wheel, and that's what I'm talking about right there. Look at the push. Jeff Merck, he'll get clear. Now he has the chance to jump up. Garrett Maines looking to make a comeback. That third lane is going to start to fade now down the super stretch.
Yeah, but they're going to get momentum back. You're going to see Malik have no temps there. That's going to bring that middle lane. Oh, they're going to get swirly in the middle. There goes Malik Ray around. There they go. They're all going to wreck.
They're all wrecking. This will probably be the big one. Everybody's trying to check up, though, actually. And I think they saw that one coming. So, yeah, a lot of them actually do manage to check up. But yet again, another caution here early to 51. And this time, he is genuinely destroyed. Man, oh, man. Well, we almost got halfway. Came about 3 to 4 laps short of it. Let's go back and take a look. Looked initially like Malik Ray starts to get out of shape right off the get-go, and then everybody just trying to save it. Like I said, the good thing about this one was it was almost like a slow wreck, so everybody kind of had a chance to check up, seeing it coming, but it's exactly how this starts here. We'll go to the chopper view first and then the spotter stand. So watch Malik on the bottom. Second car on the inside. And Garrett in the middle. Looks like the 85 of Hanneman starts to get a little offset on Garrett, but they're okay there. Malik going up a little bit, and 85 comes down. That was an odd look. I'm thinking he may have had a little help from some net code right here. I'm trying to see. And yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. See the 77 of Alex Hill up top. Watch as the 85 gets close to his left rear. Wait for it, and it's going to shoot him down the track right. No, there's some contact. I take it back. Looks like the 85 and the 77 do make some contact. The 85 gets into his door. I mean, if they don't touch, it is mighty close, and that contact shoots the 85 down the track, and there is some netcode between him and Malik Ray. That's what gets Malik out of shape, sends him onto the apron, and then he's trying to save it. Dawson Wise tries to check up. Here you see the 89 of Trevor Ostronoff running into the wreck as well with nowhere to go. So Raymond Hanneman was able to escape this again, mostly unscathed. Further back, though, I want to go back right around the area that we saw Dawson Wise in this. Not sure how bad he definitely ripped the rear end off right there, so he's going to have to go in for some repairs, but here's a full-speed view of it. With a 51. Initially, the hit doesn't look too bad. There's the hard hit. The 51, and he's not done yet. He's going to slide down and slam the inside wall. As David Sheets, see the 3 of Matthew Patton back there. Good choice to bail out of the pack earlier. As a result, he was able to miss all this. And it was a rough night for Frederick after missing that first wreck, but being involved in the second. And it's a whole lot rougher right here. Take a look at this hit to the inside wall. And a lot of these guys kind of cushioned each other. It would have been a lot of bigger hits. So definitely a lot of damage in this wreck, but maybe not as many nights ended as what we initially would have thought. And then the 51 here, this was after he hit the inside wall. Didn't really give us a good view there, so we'll back that up one more time. Does he stay in the throttle here? It seems like he does, and yeah, you certainly don't want to do that. I mean, the throttle can't stick here. We're in virtual race cars, but as soon as he does that, turns down and... No, I take that back. He's completely out of the throttle. That is, the suspension is just so broke that it won't turn at all. And he keeps it rolling, of course, to try to get it to turn so he doesn't hit the wall at all, but man. How about a view here from Malik Ray as he starts to get out of shape. And again, he got some rear end damage. I don't think he got too much on the front. But watch the hand movement here as he tries to hold onto this car. Well, he's working the wheel as quick as he can, but it's just not going to be enough. Does save it overall. Could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. Take one more look at this here in TV3. And Zachary Lima got in it. John Mullahan, Cody Nagel's got some damage to 77 as well. And there's David Sheets coming down into the 38. Chad Ross makes some contact towards the end. Dylan Bassett spun around the background. All in all, it's going to go down as probably about a 10-car wreck. But as we go back up front, it's Alex Hill being scored as your leader. Cody Nagels in second. Steve Karosik in third. John Mullahan fourth. Zachary Lima fifth. Well, Baker, some nights you see more wrecks than others, and it seems like that's just kind of the trend here tonight. It's the aggression level. It's just the way it's going to be. So, you know, as a driver at some point, you got to kind of just recognize that, and you got to change your strategy. You got to adapt, and I think right now I'm trying to stay at the front. I mean, I know we've seen wrecks in both areas, but we're coming up to, again, the halfway point of this race, and they're going to be good on fuel here if we get another caution anytime after about 10 laps. So I think it's time to start working my way through the field and get closer to the front.
Definitely think you want to stay towards the front if you can, and that's what you see Dale Cup doing right now. They're up here controlling the race, but man, they're just some heavy hitters with big time damage. You know, you got Kenny Brady out lap 1, Kevin Freeze out lap 2, Michael Guest is out of the race, Daniel Eberhardt, big damage, he's a lap down, Dylan Jones, big damage, he's a lap down, Dawson Weiss, huge damage, he's towards the back. Andrew Navarro's been running in the back of the pack after one of those wrecks. He was off speed for a long time. I don't know if he's got all his damage repaired. Jason Main's another big one that went down. So a lot of big names out of this race or near out of this race already.
Well, one thing it also does, though, is kind of set this up for a chance at an underdog win. We've seen him before. Chris Parkman with the most notable one of 2023, but can't forget about when Trevor Arsenoff got his first win. Now if he got one, we know it wouldn't be an underdog win. Expect him as a player every night, and here we go as they work their way back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona.
Big start on the bottom side. A lot of separation on the outside line. Look for the bottom to roll. Hill to probably clear up here. And, well, as I say that, still a good push from Mayan, but like we talked about, that bottom's going to surge. Hill's going to cycle up, and they're going to be 2x2 Dale Cup here.
2x2 as Nagels now sticks to the bottom, watches his teammate Alex Hill go up a lane in front of Steve Karosik. Further back, Navarro starting to make his way again through the package. Jeff Merck is going to jump 3 wide. He saw something he didn't like in the middle. He will get a lot of takers. Looks like NASCAR Villa, Kyler Wynn. The first two, they're going to jump up. Christopher McCullough as well. Not able to get there just yet, but man, no fear again. Everybody wanting to go to the front. You see, by the way, Malik Ray, who we thought got pretty significant damage to the rear end of that car. He's still hanging around in this pack. The rear end's back on. Andrew Navarro hanging with them. The 78 of J.R. Miller on the bottom, about 5 cars back. And so up front now, they are going to draw even 3 wide for the lead. Jeff Merck on the outside, Alex Hill in the middle. Cody Nails on the bottom. Ooh, some contact there between Merck and Hill. Merck's trying to pinch the middle down. Got to be careful. Netco's been a factor all night, but that third lane just doesn't have the help they need. Jeff Merck's starting to fall back a little bit, but NASCAR Villa will try to keep him up. They are awaiting help. They're going to get some if Navarro can get there, but he's just not there right now. He's falling back right now with Chad Ross.
Yeah, they're trying to bully that high lane up a little more. But, you know, Merck's not having any of it. He was trapped on that bottom side when that third lane was pinching down. He's giving them a taste of their own medicine to feel what it's like to run this tight side by side with the bottom lane and middle lane. So, I mean, good on him for racing him the way they've been racing him. And you're going to see that third line roll if he keeps pinching like that.
Certainly are, as we take another look at a couple of guys on board. And I'll tell you what, Baker, it's looking like a lot of guys are kind of peeling out of this mess now. They don't want any part of it. I mean, they're 3 wide for the first 4 or 5 rows. After that, though, there is plenty of separation. You got guys that are single filing out, and this pack is starting to extend. It's a pretty long one, but right now at the front seems to be the place to be. Cody Nagels and Zachary Lima lined up on the inside. Steve Karosik, Alex Hill in the middle. That is all of Dale Cup that is running here tonight. And then again, Jeff Merck up top with NASCAR Villa. Andrew Navarro has arrived. Cavalry is there, and they are going to start to make some progress as they work their way out of 4.
Yeah, big push here coming on the outside line. Oh, a little offset on Merck there. I thought he was going to get hooked into the outside wall. Great job in Nash bailing out of the throttle. Get back to his temps. You see one car bail from the middle to the bottom line. That top line, though, 4 cars, and they're rolling, but you see a real big draft walk here in these cars. I haven't seen this with these cars in a long time, but I think just the night and the temperature that we're seeing, the air temp and track temp, is really going to stall these cars out. Oh, Alex Hill gets a little loose up into Jeff Merck. Merck saves it somehow, and we're still 3x3, about 4 rows deep here for the lead.
Yeah, another close call, and getting on that point that you were just talking about, Baker. Yeah, remember, when the track temp's cooler, tires, they're going to have a lot more grip for a lot longer than temps in these cars. They're going to be able to go for a lot longer before you have to bail out to not blow up your engine. So, as a result, you're getting that gridlock, right? The inside lane is not slipping up, so the outside can't start to roll, and temps in every lane are still strong, so everybody can push. But now we're seeing a lot more pushing up top from Jeff Merck. Man, he is playing with fire, but it is going to work. I was going to say, he gets clear to the middle. Alex Hill will jump to the bottom, but this will now put him down a lane. I think that's where he wants to be in. You know what, Baker? He may have been side drafting hard, but it seemed like it worked out. However, Alex Hill will now get clear. He'll jump right back up, and Merck's going to take 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
You know, and good on him for getting clear down to that lane. Great pushing by NASCAR Villa there on the top line. As you see a lap car on the apron there off the pace, that's Dawson Weiss. But 3 cars now on the outside. Let's see what Andrew Navarro can do with these fresh temps. Chad Ross can't get quite tucked up to him. That could be a recipe for disaster if Navarro pushes a little too hard, but it's one of the best pushers in the game. And this man was running about 160 by himself in the back of the pack a couple laps ago, probably 10 or 15 laps ago. Now he's up front battling for the lead here.
Well, I got to tell you, Baker, they're still bumping and banging here up for the lead. I mean, we are seeing the outside, the middle, the bottom, and the middle all making contact with each other at multiple different times throughout each lap that we run. Ron Morris Jr., he's made his way up here as well as Kyler Wynn, Logan York. They're going to split 3 wide now. Kenneth Stamper on the inside. He'll pull up to J.R. Miller, that middle, with a big surge right here. Jeff Merck to the back of Alex Hill. He'll get him clear. Hill's going to jump to the bottom in front of Nagels. And that'll give Jeff Merck a chance to cool down a little bit as the third lane maybe finally starting to run out of gas, run out of temps, as they're going to start to fade a little bit off of 4. They'll try to make another surge, but what do you make of this kind of, I don't want to say it's two different packs, but this long single double file line that we're seeing? I mean, up front, we got 2 in the grass. Do they save it? They do. 1 out back makes contact to the wall. He saves it as well, it looks like. So we're going to stay green. Somebody lost a bumper. I'm not sure how. As Tucker McClendon now, he's sideways. He'll save it as well. Man, we got chaos as the 31's still sliding. Yeah, he saves it. And so back up front we go. Everybody's okay, but man, what a sequence of event that entire lap was there for a moment. Let's back this up. Hopefully everybody can keep it clean up front for just a moment, because we got to break down everything that just happened right there. It starts, it looks like, I believe it was Raymond Hanneman who's the first one in this. And there you go. He's on the inside, and looks like he gets on the apron here, and then can't tell if Ron's coming up or coming down, rather. He's coming up from that view, so we'll take a look from the chopper cam. I'm thinking Ron's coming down, but you got to wonder, was there any contact between him and Ross? You see Ron Morris Jr. in the middle. Yeah, him and Chad Ross are going to bang doors, it looks like. That sends Ron Morris Jr. down into the 85. Those two get hooked together. They're going to go for a slide across the grass. The 85. Oh, my goodness. What a save from Raymond to not hit the inside wall. And then further back, it caused some issues in itself. We had a couple bumpers flying, but everybody saved it. So as we go back live, doesn't look like it's kind of frightened anybody too much, as that third lane is still trying to form. Nash Brambilla, he's been up there committed, either pushing or leading just about this entire run, but now Logan York and Jared Miller have jumped to the 8 of that 23 car. On the inside, Alex Hill still leading. Baker, this is really shaking up the pack. Looking at the track map, they extend now for about a quarter of a track, and now all of a sudden this has become a race of get together with as many guys as you can and line up.
Yeah, and a car that's pushing on the outside line. We got his FOV fixed earlier in the week. Me and Cody sat down with him. He got a new monitor. He's not running on a laptop anymore. This man looked like he was running in a fifth-person view mode outside of the car, basically, how zoomed out he was. That's Logan York, second in line on the top, and now you're seeing why that FOV is such a game changer. He's able to stay close to that car in front of him on the bumper and give him a great shove to the corner. Him and Nash are going to work really well here.
They certainly are. They're coming up on Dawson Wise again, it looks like. Again, he's got major damage, so at this point, he's just out there riding around, hoping for any sort of, anything to happen, but it's just not going to work too well. It's, Dawson Wise had some trouble there. No, I think he just went through the grass to make sure he stayed out of the way. Further back, Cody Ashley in the 10, currently being scored in the 30th position on the lead lap, but by himself. Part of that group, along with Jason Maines, Mark Londell, that all got broken up from that close call. And now that we've hit 20 laps to go, you take a look at what is this lead pack right now, or as far back as the draft at least extends, and it looks like it goes all the way back to Christopher McCullough, about 27 cars deep. So, Baker, with that in mind, does that change your pit strategy at all?
I think it does. I think maybe undercutting just a little bit to get your momentum. A great push on the outside from Logan York. He worked well and got Nash Brambilla clear. As you see it, there's the undercut right there. Gale Cup, 4 cars go down, 5 cars go down. Dylan Basin going to follow him in.
And as we take a look, a little bit late on it, but there you go. They all get in clean, so there's no worries about it. And you got to wonder here, how does this make the rest of the field kind of react? I think we're going to see some pit stops here probably now in the next 2 to 3 laps at the longest for everybody else, because when you see one of these stronger teams come in, you start thinking to yourself, well, what strategy are they doing that I'm not thinking of? That's when you start to draw people to come down the pits. We'll see if that's the case, but there you go. Bassin, Karosek, Hill, Nagels, and Lima are all going to get it out of the pits nice and smooth as they work their way back up to speed. Up front, here we go, watching to see it. We're going to see the second round of pit stops. Malik Ray is locked up with Andrew Navarro. They're making a ton of ground on this outside line. And off turn 4, sure enough, here we go. Second round of pit stops. Leading him in, it is going to be Nash Brambilla. Oh, Malik Ray way too hot. He came flying in there. Surely he didn't get down to speed. We'll keep an eye on it to see if he did, but looks like everybody else does get in clean. And these Xfinity cars, they don't stop quite as nicely as the next gen, so Malik there trying to get everything he could, maybe make up a couple positions, and fuel only. Let's see, did he? Oh my goodness, Baker, he somehow did not get a speeding penalty.
Yeah, it looks like he locked it up just enough to be able to get it down to speed. I was watching that the whole time, but you're going to see these first 5 cars that came out leave a little off, but 4 of them hooked up. Oh, Steve gets pushed out of 11, Dylan Basin.
And going back here, looks like Steve is able to save it. Yellow flag. What in the world has happened here? Dylan Jones maybe with some trouble. And we're not sure where this wreck's at. looking forward here. The data's showing Stamper and Jones right now. Maybe a couple others. And I gotta be honest, I'm still not seeing. I gotta think it was something coming onto the pits maybe. But I can't find it, so I apologize for the brief delay here. We're looking for it. Kenneth Stamper has towed, so that's why we couldn't see him. And then Dylan Jones, not sure if he's still out on track or if he had to tow as well, but it seems like he was the other car involved. And this could potentially trap some guys a lap down. We'll have to see how this caution pans out. Yeah, Stamper and Jones both on the pits. Stamper's destroyed and Jones has some damage. So let's go back and see if we can figure out what in the world happens here. As their Stamper already turned around hard into the outside wall, so he took a big hit. And now you got to figure out, how did this happen? So him and Jones, looks like they were about single file. Definitely doesn't look like they were racing much at all here. Stamper on the inside, Jones coming up on the outside. And it looks like Stamper just kind of starts to drift up. Drifts up higher and higher and eventually gets in that range where you can get a little bit of right rear neck code. And that's what happens. But, I mean, that was, again, another odd one here tonight in terms of what was Stamper kind of drifting up for. I mean, unless he thought he was clear Jones, but certainly wasn't. And it's just a really slow drift. At the end, he really starts to drift up. And then right there, you're kind of in that range of there's going to be contact. And, yeah, gets turned around, takes a walloping hit into the outside wall. Thing's going to go for a slide on the outside safer barrier before it eventually rolls back down the banking to a halt. So Jones gets a pretty big amount of damage from this wreck as well. Man, that was a huge hit for Kenneth Stamper. That's going to bring his night to an end without a shadow of a doubt. Baker, I mean, what in the world happened there?
Yeah, it just looks like Stamper comes up the hill a little bit. Maybe he thought he was clear. I mean, it was very close to being clear, but you could tell whenever he started to come up, he killed his speed. But just hooked him in the outside wall. Unfortunate. It was two cars, but they were in the racing surface, so I had to throw the yellow there.
Yeah, certainly so, especially with a hit that big. You don't really know what a car's going to do at that point. Suspension's broke. Who knows how much steering he's got. So as he slides back down the banking, that's where it gets always a hold your breath moment for sure. But Dylan Jones rolls by. He might be... Oh, Mark Von Dell tagged him at the end of that. I didn't even see that. Oh my goodness, that was a huge hit for Mark Von Dell. That was late. Man, oh man, was that a late hit. Let's go back and watch the onboard of Mark Von Dell. I mean, when Stamper wrecks, he's still on the back straightaway. Caution's out at this point. They're still going full speed. Not quite. They let off the throttle, but they're still going at a high rate of speed. You see Stamper on the bottom. You see him, you see him, you see him, you see him. Yikes. I got to think that Mark was maybe looking at something else like the black box or something, because it just looks like he never really saw him until the last second. Good news, though, for Mark Von Dell, I guess, is doesn't look like he got too much damage. I'm not sure if he was able to net code through him or what, but certainly was insult to injury there for Kenneth Stamper. Watch this. So Stamper had been stopped for probably about 10 seconds. And Mark coming down. Not going to see him. He sees him there, but just a little bit too late. My goodness.
Yeah, unfortunate. Maybe he just didn't see him looking down on his phone, trying to check his black box, get his fuel ready for the pit stop. Just a mistake by someone who doesn't usually make those kind of mistakes.
Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, Baker, I've done it before, man. It's one of those things where you don't expect it, but yeah, sometimes when races are as crazy like this, you just got to have that extra 6 cents once in a while. Malik Ray on the outside. Ashburn Bilodeau will lead him back to green. Chose the inside. John Ward, Garrett Maines, row number 2. John Mullihan and J.R. Miller in row 3. Lights are off. It's going to be 14 laps to go. We're going to take just a quick break here. We will be right back for the restart. Stay with us. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. Coming up on the restart, there's a look at Jeff Merck. Still in it with a good chance to win it, but he's got some work to do. Up front, Nasper Mbilla and Malik Ray working their way into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 14 laps to go at Daytona.
Huge push on the inside line. You're going to see Bale from the outside line to the bottom line. Only one car out there. That's Malik Ray. You're going to see people start to shatter out.
Out back, do they save it? I see just one go to the wall. Sorry to cut you off, Baker. It looked like it was Davenport. No, I take it back. It's the 85 of Raymond Hanneman. Got turned into the outside wall, but everybody else was able to save it. They keep it green. And so we'll continue forward. I'm not sure what happened there, but I know if I take a replay, they're going to wreck up front. So with that, we head right back up to the front where Malik Ray and John Ward are going to push clear, and by plenty. Malik Ray, first laps that he will get a chance to lead here tonight. Take the back, he's had a couple more, but on the outside this time, John Ward with a big push. When does the 92 drop down? For now, he's sticking up with the 7. He remains in there as well.
I mean, huge shuffling all throughout the front. Malik Ray somehow gets hung out going into one and somehow comes out with the lead on that lap. I mean, big shuffling, wrecking out back just one car. They're going to get a little spread out here. Look for a lot of 2x2 action by these guys up front. They know they're in a money spot. They know they don't have to go 3 wide just yet. The first guy I'm looking at right now is going to be John Mollahan and Kenny McCullough. You see him backing off for that run, but I think you'll see Merck maybe think about it, hanging out Garrett like Garrett hung him out in the PGR Championship. There goes Kenny to that top line with Dylan Basin.
Yeah, and I mean, there's 2 teams right now that I'm thinking about, as you were just talking about. Ken McCullough Jr., the captain from McCullough Motorsports, he sure enough is going to be the one to do it. That was one of my picks. The other one was Dale Cup. Would be surprised if they try to start cranking up the aggression here in just a moment. 3 wide. Oh, they're wrecking. Morris Hart, or excuse me, that's a 46. Oh my goodness, another watch out. The 10 actually not going to be able to slow down at time. He slides in. That was the 46. I believe that might have been Borboom. 6th caution of the night. Comes out with 12 laps to go. And it was indeed Ryan Borboom, 46, the first one that got turned. And Ron Morris Jr. Thought those paint schemes were relatively similar for some reason in my head, but oh my goodness. I knew Ron was up here and think he's going to get involved in this, but not the first one to go sideways. So here we go. Let's back this up to the spotter view. Actually, we'll go to the chopper first to see, does he get turned? So Ryan Borboom, the 46, he's on the inside line by himself. And there's going to be, again, some right rear net code in that one. Gets right up the track where Steve Karosik is. He's got nowhere to go. Alex Hill is going to dive low. There's the 8 of Dylan Basson. Ron Morris Jr. There he is piling in. Ken McCullough Jr., who just had jumped out to that 3rd lane. He's going to go for a spin through the grass. Does make a little contact. Looks like nothing too bad. And then there's Cody Ashley just not able to check up in time. Heavy contact for him as well. Take a look now from the spotter view. And this might count as the big one here on the night. Definitely quite a few cars involved in this one, and starts to block up the track, just nowhere to go. Christopher McCullough. Mike Davenport, I think, maybe got a little bit of damage. Don't think it's anything too bad for him. As they come to a halt, this will again just tick off more laps. It'd probably put us in a restart with less than 10 laps to go. So there's Mullahan going for a spin. I mean, some of these guys that made it through, though, like Ryan Pace and Chad Ross, I don't know how they did. My goodness. Take 2 more shots of this one first. Let's get an onboard ride here with the 46. He gets turned here. And again, he's just maybe ever so slightly off the bottom, but I wouldn't count this enough to say he was doing anything wrong. But it's that right rear net code that really catches him. As there's John Mullahan getting turned at the last second. Couldn't quite sneak through, as neither could Ken McCullough Jr. He gets turned just at the end of it. There's the contact in the outside wall for the 46, but it's not over yet. He's going to get tagged here pretty hard. Cody Ashley, as he gets back rolling, he was able to roll away from the scene of the wreck, but crab walking, he has got heavy damage. That's going to bring his night to an end almost for sure. Take one more look from the TV static cam. Another wreck tonight that we see in the tribal. It's been where we've seen probably about 80% of them. And so as we go back live, Sixth caution again of the night, and it is going to put us at a restart with probably about 8 or 9 laps to go. Up front, Malik Ray still being scored as your leader. John Ward in second. Garrett Maines in third. Nash Bravilla back in fourth. Jeff Merck still in the top 5. He's in fifth. J.R. Miller sixth. Richard Elliott seventh. Alex Hill eighth. Cody Nagels ninth. And Ken McCullough Jr. Adding out the top 10. He's up 34 from where he started. Bramilla's up 35, and Ward is up 34. Those are some of your biggest movers right now. All right, they're going to be, again, getting ready for a restart here. Should be getting the one-to-go signal this time. I know we just took a break. We're going to take one more, though, here since they went to caution. I'm going to go get a quick drink, as you all should. Meet us back here in just a minute, and let's get ready for, hopefully, this final restart of the night. Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets into the lead on the record.
3x3 entering 4.
3
He's
deep.
blocked.
At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Welcome back to the Acres 55 at Daytona International Speedway. First time here, and a little bit of a different race tonight. Baker, I mean, we've noticed it. Net code's pretty bad here, so you got to be careful. But unfortunately, when you get to the end of these races, you can't. You got to run door to door. I mean, there's not much room here at Daytona, so not sure if that's the last caution, but we're going to rack these guys up. Try it again here. Malik Gray still looking for his first win in a PGR race. We've seen him in probably about 3 to 5. And then John Ward, I mean, no stranger to victory lane. He has found plenty. Oh, Lima gets turned by Triscaro. What in the world happened there? Oh, my goodness. Further out back, looks like we're going to stay green. I don't even know what just happened. We'll have to go back and take a look, I guess, but up front. 9 laps to go, 3 wide. And they're quickly back down to 2x2. Up front, John Ward will start to inch ahead on the inside. This is 7 of Malik Reagan. Oh, he gets turned! Oh, that's going to be a big hit for Malik and Ward. No, Malik saves it. Oh, Ward doesn't. Hard hit for the 92. Nose into the wall. It's 2 cars. Trying to save it, and nope, not going to work. Yellow flag is back out. This one's going to collect another couple of handfuls. And I'm running out of things to say up here. Oh my goodness. Well, we had about 3 different incidents there within the span of a lap. And at a certain point, you just can't even figure out what all is going on. So let's go back and take a look at the first incident here with Michael Triscaro and Zachary Lima. I don't even know what in the world happened here, so that's what we're going to look at first. Before we go back live, was it a checkup? This would be a good guess. Yeah, that's what it's starting to look like here. See Michael Triscaro on the inside. As pace car pulls off, Triscaro goes to pull back up in line. There's a checkup, an even bigger checkup, and then yikes. So that sends Lima around and costs him a bumper. Might have been for the best, though, because we're going to have a second wreck up here with John Ward and Malik Ray. That's the next one that we're going to go take a look at right here. This is coming off at turn number 2. And you got to think that somebody gets some help from behind here, the way that he got turned down the track. And you see Garrett pushing hard on John Ward. Oh, but he gets offset left. Garrett gets on that left rear, and that turns John Ward right around, sends him into Malik Ray. And these two are going to go for a ride to the inside. Well, Malik actually saves this thing, I think. Yeah, he does. And then John Ward, though, unfortunately not going to be able to. He makes hard contact and back this up a little bit more. So now we can take a look at this wreck. It's just going to be its whole own kind of incident in itself. We heard Jeff Merck, Mark Vondel were in it. Taking a look first here. And Mark Vondel, this is going into turn 3. It's actually going to happen further ahead. Watch for Jeff Merck. Here we go. From the chopper view. Ooh. That's a little bit of a tough break right there. Merck's not going to be happy about that one, I don't think. Taking another view, though. Play it slowly here. Merck's on the inside. The 38 gets to the middle. Well, I take that back. I mean, it looks to me right there like Merck is just ever so slightly creeping up. The 38 might ever so slightly be creeping down. And then, well, you probably know what we're saying next. It's been what just keeps happening all night. There's a slight bit of netcode that helps turn that 60 car around off the front of the 38. And once they do, everybody's trying to miss it. Ross Davenport into the wall along with Navarro. And then further back, Brock Westmoreland and company, they're just going to have nowhere to go through this one, trying to dodge it. But track just kind of gets blocked up. And again, caution wasn't thrown for that first incident. It was only 2 cars that were off the racing surface, and Malik actually saved it, so you could call it 1. But then this one here, Brock Westmoreland, man, he almost missed it, then piles in late, and the 3 Matthew Patton nowhere to go. David Sheets, though, see right there, he actually sneaks through this whole thing. Let's take a ride on board with David Sheets through this wreck. Sees him wrecking, he's going to get hard on the brakes. High, low, high again. The seas just kind of part, as it looks like they did as well right there for Nashburn Bill. Let's take a couple more looks here, one from the spotter view. And there's the contact for Matthew Patton. Man, they piled in hard out back. Looked to me like Mark Vondel got slammed. Take one final view of this here from TV3. As no, take that back. That wasn't Mark Vondel that got hit hard. Looked like that was actually going to be the 38 that took a big impact. So we'll back that up. Take one final view from the screenshot here. See if we can break down just a little bit more as we go closer here to where Jeff Merck was at. And again, this is going to bring a couple more guys this night to an end, but I think Jeff Merck might still be out there running. Yeah, he is. He's still up in that nice spot, but that was Richard Elliott, I believe, that he makes contact with right there first. Yep. And watch Richard Elliott take a big hit. Nashville with slight contact, but it's right here where it's really going to do some damage. Man, oh man, the 31 slides in. Michael Trascaro as well. 760 of Heath Job. I mean, so many guys that we don't get a chance to really talk about until the end of these races, and unfortunately it's for the wrong reasons. It's usually them getting caught up in a wreck, as we saw right there. But Baker, I mean, not much to say on that one. I believe he is still tending to some race control duties, and I do apologize when you do get back, Baker. I think we actually had him muted for about the quarter of a lap that he got to commentate there for that last go from when we came back from break, but definitely didn't miss much. And now this is going to put us with a 5 lap to go restart. And again, if we can make it to the white flag, this race will be official, and that will be our conclusion of the Acres 55. Again, Malik Ray with that save keeps himself with a chance in this race. The problem is how many spots he lost all the way back to 17th. The good news is he has got some of the best when it comes to super speedway racing, including this guy, Steve Karosik. If he didn't get caught up in a wreck, I think he wins every single one of these races just about. I mean, Steve has the talent, but man, Dale Cup finds the worst ways to get in themselves into bad luck some of the end of these races, and Steve's caught himself in a couple of wrecks here late tonight, not of his causing, and see if he can work back up there. They got Daniel Eberhardt there as well, Brock Westmoreland. We'll see how it goes. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 5 laps to go at Daytona.
Nice even start there. Yeah, I was going through some race control stuff, but we're back here for the finish of this race. Oh, we see one trying to dive to the apron to get inside. Won't get there. Malik Ray trying to put someone in a bad position, but good racing up front here. They're tandem by 3 on the bottom lane. Oh, it's going to push Sean Hill up just a tad. Good thing those guys are working in the Discord together, but if you're offset push, just like you saw Garrett give to Malik, it can really cause some mayhem here. They were able to keep it together, but I don't think it's going to happen much further. But look for Logan York to give a good push to J.R. Miller to get Garrett Maines clear. Now Logan York in the catbird seat here on the bottom line.
How about Trevor Osmanoff now up in the top 3 on that inside line, trying to make something work. He's in the money right now. We haven't talked about payouts yet. We'll hold him for a little bit longer. Then we come to 4 laps. David Sheets around out back. Steve Karosik's in it. Caution is back out. And it looks like everybody else is able to miss it. And he'll come to not quite a halt as he's going to try to drive back to the pits. Oh! Stayed in the throttle there and did a little more than make it to the pits. So he slammed the pit wall. Let's go back here and take a look now what happens to David Sheets. Him and Steve Karosik, the first 2 to make contact. See Steve dive low. Oh, this was the last one. Excuse me, I was getting ready to say, man, they wrecked in front. What in the world? But there we go. This one, a little bit of a different look right here. As see Steve's going to jump to the outside. And again, just gets caught by some of that right rear netcode. I mean, you know, Baker, you got to help me out here with this because people in the chat, I don't know if nobody said anything, but I got to wonder if they're getting upset with me. I keep saying it, but your race control, I mean, we see it. That's what it is. It just continues to happen here tonight. Steve has to try to side draft there to get some momentum going, but unfortunately the game thinks they're making contact. You clearly see that they're not, and unfortunately it ends in another wreck.
Yeah, it just looks like another right rear netcode. You know, like we talked about, it's not a right rear netcode thing anymore. It's just how these cars are modeled, and we gotta be more safe about it. And it's just unfortunate that it's going this way.
Call it a part of the car, if you will, because it seems like that's just kind of how it happens just about every time. But I agree, in the sense of, again, risk versus reward. But you kind of gotta, again, if you know they all hop out there, they gotta go. It's just kind of the product too of when we get these late cautions and the late racing, guys start to have to get a little bit more desperate than they might like to. But looking at that wreck, Sheets is destroyed. I think Karosik maybe gets away without too much damage. And then Sheets here, just gonna put it back in first gear, turn it towards the pit wall, and ironically there looks like he was trying to take it to the garage, but just slams it into the invisible wall. So we'll take one more look at that one here. The cockpit view of David Sheets as he first gets turned around. And there it is. You see he's trying to correct the wheel, do anything he can to save it, but just not going to be able to. And first off, how did Daniel Eberhardt miss it? And then Kevin Freese, he got a little damage. Looked like for the most part he was able to miss it, but unfortunately at the end there he made that heavy contact. You wonder if, yeah, it spun him out, so that may end Kevin's race after fixing damage just about all race to get back out here. He's quickly going to be going right back to the pits.
Kevin got a full engine repaired off, takes him half a lap, and he gets killed again. Just you know, the racing hasn't been great tonight, but it's good every once in a while when you can sit back and take a laugh at it, because you know it's just a simulation. It's not real cars, not real people getting hurt, so it's comedy sometimes.
It certainly is, and it's going to be our first green-white checkered right here, as we should get the want-to-go signal next time. Garrett Maines in first, Alex Hill second, J.R. Miller third, Cody Nagels fourth, Logan York in fifth, Trevor Osmanoff back in sixth, Kyler Wynn seventh, and he's up 39 from where he started. I mean, I thought it was going to be a tough task for him, but should have known that he would find his way up here by the end of this race. William Hicks in the 77, even with being involved in a couple different incidents tonight, he is up to 8th. Jeff Merck in 9th, Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 10. Well, let's take a look at the payouts here real quick. I mean, we had the full field here tonight. Again, shout out to Acres for the sponsorship of tonight's race. It was the Acres 55, and payouts did not disappoint. We made, yeah, actually we did reach the payout limit. So 200 to first, looks like it's 132 to second, 124 to third, 116 to fourth and fifth, and 32 to sixth. And you got to remember that it was only a $16 entry fee tonight, so that's big payouts for the price of entry, and a lot of guys seem to like it. We had a lot of people out here racing, a lot of people tuning in. Appreciate everybody that has stopped by. As Mike Davenport says in chat, anybody got a spare engine? Well, Kevin Freese did, but unfortunately he no longer does, so you have to look elsewhere, Mike. But as we get ready for this final restart, we are going to take our final break tonight. And we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us for the finish in overtime at Daytona. Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over into the lead under record.
3x3 entering 4.
3-2. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Daytona International Speedway for hopefully the finale of the Acres 55. And a little bit of a long one here tonight. Nobody shying away from that fact, but what I'm still expecting here, Baker, is that classic super speedway photo finish. I think we got a good shot at it because we still have some strong runners up front. Hill and Maines row 1, Miller and Nagels in row 2. Green flag back in the air. Overtime is underway at Daytona.
Formed up on the outside here. Cody Nagels will get a good push, but doesn't have any help behind him. You know, he's going to try and control Garrett here rather than push him clear. He wants Sean to stay on that bottom side, and Garrett's fine with that because he's in the catbird seat to win this race. You know he's not going to go to that top of 3 wide, Cody, that is, unless there's a huge run coming, and everyone behind him is really shuffling around, so I don't see any momentum really coming to that third lane unless they can gather up a huge run here. I agree, and remember, for this race to be official, we got to make it to the white flag, but build off what Baker said, that middle lane, they're going to have to catch up to the back of the 77. That's Ryan Bates and Everhart that are still waiting, so they're going to drop low. Until that outside line fully stacks up, the third lane will not work. As you see, Wynn, Bates, and Everhart are going to jump back up. Now they're going to start to get some momentum formed up, maybe get something going, but this race is going to be official. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go at Daytona. Garrett Maines leads there. He's clear to the bottom. Look for him to maybe take it. Cody wants him to take it to the bottom. He knows Hill will help. Cody almost got clear of that bottom line. Sean's going to form back. Maybe Garrett takes that momentum towards the bottom side. He thinks the bottom side's where you need to be for this entire race. There's no third line that's really going to be coming right now. You just see the middle lane getting a huge push. William Hicks blocks to the outside. He's going to get hung out. This is just going to be a 2x2 battle here to the line. Final time down the Daytona super stretch into 3. Oh, Hill gets turned. Back up into the pack he goes. They're all going to wreck out back. It'll be a battle between the front 2. Nagels and Maines as Garrett comes down for the side drive. He's going to get it now. Cody will watch back up. Trying to get maybe a little bit physical. One more side drive isn't enough. They drag race to the line. It's going to be a photo finish. Cody Nagels wins it at Daytona. Wow, he squeaks it out by less than 100th of a second. Man, oh man, let's go back and take a look. It all broke loose here coming through turns 3 and 4. It was clean till that point, and see exactly how this starts. I think it's just going to be a lot of hard pushing. And there you go. You see J.R. Miller on the back of Alex Hill. Yeah, just gets him a little bit offset at the worst time you could do it there. Gets a little bit offset to the left, and then kind of swipes it. That sends Hill to the apron, and when Hill comes back up, boy, he cleans the field out. I mean, everybody. And at this point, it's only 4 cars to really make it through, but your top 2 was the battle of between who it was. See York and Everhart sneak through as well, but this is where it gets exciting here. In fact, I want to get a better view of this here. Let's see if we can go. Here we go. I like this one here. We're going to go to TV2 for this.
So initially here, Cody's got a big run from Garrett missing and everything, but then Garrett does a great side draft to get Cody back. Cody doesn't give up, though. He goes up, gets uncomfortably close to Garrett, and he gets enough of a side draft to where when he dives down, he's able to beat him, and I mean barely beat him. Oh, my goodness. We're looking at the finish now. In fact, we're going to back this up by a frame. Holy moly. He beats Garrett. That probably is about a thousandth of a second if I had to guess. We'll get official results in just a moment, but man, what a win for Cody Nagels. And, you know, I know he goes below the yellow here. We'll see what race control says, but I don't think that's any sort of penalty. I don't even know if he gets all 4 below before they cross the line, and could make an argument that maybe he was thinking he was going to get forced down there when he saw Garrett coming down. Nonetheless, he is your winner tonight. He gets it done in the Robert Jordan 74 strong paint scheme here tonight. So as he burns it down, let's take a look at your finishing results here on the night. Cody Nagels gets to win. There's the official gap, and sure enough, 1,000th of a second. He beats Garrett Maines out, who finishes second. Logan York back in third. Daniel Eberhardt in fourth. Kyler Wynn in fifth. Trevor Osborne out sixth. Richard Elliott in seventh with William Hicks eighth. Mark Mondell in ninth. Brock Westmoreland rounding out your top 10. Moving on back to 11th, it's Dylan Basson, followed by Steve Karosik. Christopher McCullough in 13th with William Fox in 14th. Ken McCullough Jr. in 15th with J.R. Miller in 16th. Nash Brambilla in 17th with Alex Hill in 18th. Ryan Baste in 19th, and Malik Ray rounding out your top 20. Jeff Merck finishes 21st. Zachary Lima in 22nd. Jason Maines 23rd with Tucker McClendon in 24th. Dawson Wise 25th. David Sheets 26th with Mike Kirk in 27th. Chad Ross 28th. Matthew Patton in 29th. And Andrew Navarro rounding out your top 30. Mike Davenport finishes 31st. Ron Morris Jr. in 32nd. John Ward 33rd. Michael Triscaro 34th. Raymond Hanneman in 35th. Ryan Forboom in 36th. Cody Atchley 37th. Heath Job in 38th. John Mollahan 39th. Kenneth Stamper rounding out your top 40. Dylan Jones 41st. Frederick Ledouceur at 42nd. Michael Guest in 43rd. Kevin Freese 44th. DeAndre Gain in 45th. And Kenny Brady finishes out in 46th. All right, we are going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We will be right back at Daytona. All right, back at Daytona, going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, Logan York. Hey, Logan, this is Austin Baker in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, here you are, your first PGR race since they helped you fix the setup, and you bring home a podium finish. You finished third, but I think the story tonight was all the wrecks. We saw one on the last lap. You escape it. You bring home a podium. Tell us how you made it through that last lap wreck.
Yeah, it's just luck. That's all these things are at the end is luck, and I got lucky being at the front, at the bottom, rode a line and just got through it. Just happy to be at the front there to even have a chance if a wreck happened, though.
You certainly did, and you call it luck, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to tell yourself that you had some luck all day, but you also had to have some skill to be up there at that point. How did you kind of work around this race when you saw early that it was going to be kind of a wreck fest?
Yeah, well, as you and Baker know, when there's a bunch of wrecks in these races, it kind of gets gridlocked early because there's a bunch of cautions, so you can't really go anywhere. So you just gotta push through it and push the green flag runs you do get. You got to make the most of your moves. You can't ride back in these kind of races. Yeah, just gotta push through and do good pit stops whenever you get the opportunity as well.
Well, you certainly did all that tonight. So before we let you head out to enjoy your winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thanks Baker and Cody for helping me with my FOV, even though it kind of seemed like I was eating the steering wheel. It did help though, for sure. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you everyone that watches these races and keeps it going. Thank you, my teammate, Tucker McClendon. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on third, and hopefully we'll see you out here next week.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. And now that's going to pull us to your second place finisher here on the night. Matthew Baker stands by with Garrett Maines.
Hey, Garrett, it's Matt and Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, talk through me that last lap. We don't have to talk about the rest of the race since you guys are pacing. I think the pace car led the most laps tonight. We proved why Xfinity at Daytona is a tough one for us to grasp, but it didn't take away from a great finish and a move that Cody Nagels really made there at the line, the bang towards the line. But, I mean, he side drafts your left rear. I didn't really think he was going to pull that much side draft being in the bottom lane, but he was able to get it done. What more could he have done out of turn 4 there to get the win?
Honestly, I've watched it back, and like the timing of it all, I probably could have only done one thing, and it was side draft him harder the first time, which I was already on the verge of wrecking him because it was starting to pull him up the racetrack with the right rear net code. So like, I don't think there was anything I could have done different. That was going to be a drag race no matter what. I mean, literally, had I turned down the track just a little bit earlier, I win. There's so many ways you can look at it that way, and just Cody did everything he had to do perfectly to get it done there. And man, it kind of sucks because I really thought I had that coming to the line there. But I mean, shoot, for me to be in that position, I mean, I really can't complain. I didn't think I was going to have any help at the end. I mean, I was trying to push Ward past Malik. Malik, when he jumped, really hosed me the first time. I think it was that start actually. And so I had, the opportunity to get up. I was like, you know what, I'll push Ward, and then it freaking bumper hooked him. Like, I glitched through his back bumper. I'm watching the replay. It's just like, man, we were in a good spot there too. But can't complain. We wouldn't have got the finish at the end of the day. If it hadn't all panned out that way. It really sucks that, I mean, Ward and Malik both got hosed out of that deal. But yeah, to be there at the end to get a finish like that, I mean, I'm glad to have been a part of it for sure.
Well, it's a great finish nonetheless. You're going to see a lot more Daytona coming up and a bunch of different money racing series. And we got the 30th coming up with the Clash and the start of the Coke series. Anyone want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a huge shout out to MCU Body, Lennox, and the guys over at Ryco Performance. I know we're going to be doing Daytona tomorrow in the 24, so hopefully we'll have a piece for that and see if we can go compete for another win.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Gary. Hope we talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
All right, now that is going to bring us up to your winner here on the night, Cody Nagels. Cody, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, there you go. You get the job done in the RJ scheme, but first question I got for you. Tell us about that last lap, but I really like the way Baker put it. There really wasn't much else to talk about the rest of the race, so how about that last lap?
Pretty wild. I haven't had a chance to go back and look at what happened with me and Alex, but I do believe it was netcode, and I was pretty heartbroken because we had what I thought was a couple spots easily secured in the top 5, and I lost him, and it was pretty much just down to me and Garrett, and it was extremely bang that whole last half lap. Like, I got under him, and then he parked me, and I ran him up the track, and there was just a lot of contact. But me and him were, we were very clean about it. He wasn't going to turn me, and I wasn't going to turn him unless it was netcode related. I mean, I'm not sure either of us really could have done a whole lot more, different, other than, I think if he had it to do over, he wouldn't have let me move him up the track. It was just enough.
Well, speaking of just enough, right as you guys were coming to line, you dipped just below the yellow, and it almost looked kind of like an instinct. And I think if you didn't, Garrett maybe gets that. Did you kind of like how did you decide on that move? Did you feel he was going to come down, you needed to, or did it just kind of happen that way?
I mean, it was the contact off of him, and it was just kind of instinct at that point. I'm trying to make sure that I just don't wreck. I mean, it's like, obviously, instinctually, I know that if I'm going to beat him to the line, I have to get away from him. But at the same time, if I stay close to him at all, we had already netcoded once. So it was like, I want to win the race, and I don't want to wreck. So it was kind of a combination of both.
Well, you wanted to win the race, and you did win the race. So before we let you head out and enjoy your winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank you and Baker and Mike T, just everything you guys do for PGR and what Ghost Racing Network does. I got to give Robert Jordan a shout out again, man. Since I've been running these RJ schemes, Man, I don't know. He's like my good luck charm right now, and I know he's smiling up in heaven. I haven't even had a chance to look, but Robert Morrison just messaged me. I know he's watching the broadcast. My family is. I don't know. I'm just kind of filled up with emotion again. I'm blessed to be in victory lane, and not only be in victory lane in PGR again, but to do it running an RJ scheme is just, oh my God, it's an amazing feeling. So, that's about just speechless, I guess.
Certainly is a good feeling. Go enjoy it. You were fun to watch tonight. Congrats again on the win, and hopefully we'll see you out here next week.
Thank you.
All right, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage tonight for the Acres 55. Baker, I mean, we tried it, new track with the newer car combo. The car was great last week, but with this track, not so good this week. We still got the photo finish, so overall, you can't be too disappointed.
No, it's just, it's gonna come with some of these races. It's gonna be bad races in some weeks, and some weeks we're gonna have great races. But a great finish there coming to the end. Victory by 1/1000th is pretty good, almost a 0-0-0 across the line. Wrecking out back looked like 07 Daytona 500 with Mark Martin and Kevin Harvick coming to the line, but this time the bottom side prevails. But it's one of our cheapest entry fees. Next week is one of the bigger races. Trucks at Talladega, back to our bread and butter, back to 40 cars stopping for pit stops at once. Hopefully we can put on another good show for them.
Can't wait for it. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Ghost Racing Network does head over to Asphalt Outlaws Racing for the Nirvana 200 at Pocono Raceway. Make sure you tune in for that. As for tonight, thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week. Till then, that's it for Matthew Baker and I, Austin Green, here on Ghost Racing Network. Have a good night.